Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to this week's episode of The Knife Guy. So what are we talking about today? If you are new to my Knife Guy series, it is basically a podcast style episode where we're just going to talk, right? The knives that are laid out on the table are, for you to look at, but also they might be used as examples as we discuss this. What are we discussing today? TikTok has a huge counterfeit knife problem.
Guys, we got a new knife in the mail today, and we got a bench-made pocket knife straight from the USA, Oregon City to be exact. Pocket knife. You can see it right there, bench-made. First thing we're going to do, we're going to test, see how sharp this thing is. That's razor sharp, y'all.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Even if you're not on TikTok, it's a problem because the more counterfeits that we have circulating within this community, and I know a lot of people who buy counterfeits are probably not part of the core knife community, but the more of them that are out there, the more likely they are to end up on eBay or on Reddit or on Blade Binge being passed off as the real thing. And while this is admittedly probably a rare thing, and there are plenty of people in our community that are capable of recognizing when a counterfeit is, being passed off or trying to be passed off as the real thing, it's still a problem. I want as few of these things in circulation as possible. I don't have a solution for this, and I don't think that they will ever go away. I mean, they obviously haven't. But I think that there are some things that could happen in a best case scenario that could mitigate this, right? So just going to kind of give my thoughts. If you are on TikTok and you are part of the core knife community, you've probably seen these TikTok shop ads where it's usually some smaller content creator who's like, guys, I just found this awesome knife, and they're not specifically saying like it's a Spyderco or it's a benchmark. Like, I'll put some images up on screen, right? They're just kind of like, look at this great deal, right? It's like $18. Couple of problems. I actually don't know what people receive. If you're familiar with the knife world, then you know that for $18 you're not gonna get anything good. The picture that's displayed on like the ad that I saw for the Spyderco PM2, just like the Blade HQ Tanto Spyderco PM2, they actually use an image of a Spyderco box. They use the exact image of like the real, like this isn't the clone. It's very unlikely that that's the actual image of the thing that you're getting. My guess is that they just took the image from, some Blade HQ ad. Perhaps it actually does look like that though. There's a big difference between a counterfeit and a clone. Now, my thoughts on clones have changed a little bit over the years. I still don't personally buy them. I don't think it's a good idea, right? But I can kind of understand why some people might be tempted into buying something like that, especially if you're trying to decide for yourself whether or not you want to purchase the real thing. That is an argument that has come up a lot, and I can kind of understand that perspective. I still personally tell people like it's better that you spend that money on something else, and do your best to try and do research and make your decision to buy the real thing and only the real thing. But I'm still not going to, it's like it's your money. The counterfeits, bad, awful, terrible. There's no justification for it. And I know, again, it's your money. In that situation, if you use your own money to buy a counterfeit, you have used your money to buy something stupid and wrong. It's just not good. There's no justification for it, right? People always try to say, well, what if my buddy, like you're coming down, like I can't afford the same stuff as you, Metal Complex. You coming down on me for not having enough money for the real thing? Absolutely not. I would never, ever do that. I also tell people regularly, there's absolutely no reason for anyone really to spend a ton of money on a pocket knife. You only do that if you are a collector enthusiast, if you've budgeted properly, and you really just want to own it or EDC it or both or whatever, right? If you can't afford it and you just want it for one reason or another, fine. Maybe some people buy knives as investments, whatever, right? Most people, I say no. I mean, like if you're just looking for a good tool, like the $30, $40 knife market is booming with original designs, not stolen designs, right? You have too many options. You literally have too many options. There is no justification. I'm constantly trying to tell people, if you are on a budget and you want a nice tool, there are a million reasons not to buy a clone, especially not a counterfeit. Number one, it's just cringe. Like, ugh. Like, I mean, okay, we'll put that aside. Right? We'll put the nose in the air stuff aside. Right? I am going to talk about what I think is going to happen and what could potentially help mitigate it here in just a moment. Yeah, I mean, number one, do you think that especially the companies who are making the counterfeits, there's a 0% chance that a company who's willing to steal, for example, the Spyderco logo, steal the entire design, make a box, like a fake Spyderco box, there is 0% chance that they care about the manufacturing quality and the tolerances of that knife. They do not care if the lock is safe. They just want you to buy it. Furthermore, even if you are buying this piece of crap at $18 or whatever this image that I have, even if you're buying it, there's no way, whatever the steel, maybe they even print S30V on it or S45 or whatever it was. Maybe they even print that on the blade. That ain't what it is, right? Like most of us know this. I don't think the people on TikTok know this, and that's the problem, right? The people who are specifically, like who those ads are specifically designed for, they don't know that. They probably don't even know what S30V is, right? They're just going, I seen that knife I saw that Metal Complex guy, he tried to sell that knife, he tried to sell the same knife for $250, he's a scammer. I could get it right here for $18. That's me make a smart decision. Yeah, I mean, like, you don't have to, number one, I don't sell anything I literally don't sell anything on TikTok. I have some affiliate links in my bio, but I don't have any videos that utilize the shop page. Maybe in the future, when more companies who are legitimate actually, make their products available on TikTok, sure. I don't have a problem with that, because then people are buying things that are not only legitimate, but made well, right? So, yeah, that $18 Spyderco, whether it is an actual, like whether that image that is shown, if that's actually what you get, and they actually manage to not duplicate the quality, they can't do it, right? Anybody who says that has never actually handled or used the real thing. They simply don't know. But if they did manage to duplicate the aesthetic, right, that's a huge problem. Huge. It's one problem to use the logos to advertise it. I'm going to guess you probably receive some freaking Happy Meal toy version of the PM2. I think there's a good chance you don't receive anything even remotely related, but I think there's a good chance you just receive a knife with a ninja on it or something, for $18. I mean, who knows? It's a problem whether it's the advertisement, because that's just misleading people. And it's an even bigger problem if the thing that you get is an actual aesthetic duplication of the real thing. Huge problem. Counterfeits are awful. No reason to ever buy them. You are funding people who are literally poisoning our community, and it's just bad. And you're also potentially, down the road, you can cause somebody to get scammed. Problem. We don't want that. I don't want that stuff in our aftermarket, in our secondary market. People go to buy something. I mean, the fact that I know it's like you're acting like, you could say Metal Complex, you're acting like clones and counterfeits didn't exist before TikTok. No, I know that they did. I know that they do. It's already something that we have to deal with. It's already something that and Blade Binge has a really great refund policy if you end up getting scammed or you get the fake knife or whatever, right? But I would still like for that to be as minimal as possible. It's already something that we have to go, we're already a little wary. People are really not wanting to deal or trade with people who don't have any feedback. It makes it harder for new people to want to get. If everybody is worried about it, it makes it that much harder for newer people to get through the gates. They come into this world and they're like, apparently there's like fake stuff. You can get scammed. I don't know what these blades is. I don't know how to tell. It just makes it that much harder. Clones make it kind of, there's kind of some bad stuff with. I don't really like that. We got companies who manufacture clones, and also we got companies like Kevin John, who are notorious clone makers, or were much more heavily involved in the past, who are now very most likely, I think almost completely and totally confirmed, if not absolutely confirmed, the OEM behind Custom Knife Factory, right? Great. Let's hope they stick to that, right? But I mean, like, that's super confusing for new. That right there is a great example of something that makes our knife world super confusing. Because people are like, wait, Custom Knife Factory, isn't a custom knife a knife that's handmade? Well, yeah, I mean, or also it's like a small batch, like hand element item. You know, we call those mid-techs. Oh, okay, that's a whole different can of worms. I guess I'll put a pin in that and come back to it. So this company's called Custom Knife Factory. Just giving you an example. I don't want to sit here and discuss all of the weeds of Custom Knife Factory, right? So Custom Knife Factory is not actually a factory that makes sense. This is confusing. Okay, so they're a company, but they don't make their own knives? No. They do a little bit of finished work. Used to be in Russia, now it's in Slovakia. Oh, okay. Well, so who makes their knife? Oh, it's a company called Kevin John. Well, who's Kevin John? Well, he's not really a real person. It's just a name that they used. It's kind of like a filler. I think it was a little more enticing for people, who didn't want to buy a knife from a company that had a very Chinese-sounding name. Kevin John sounds a little bit more enticing to American people trying to buy knives that look exactly like the real American thing, but cost a lot less. But yeah, they OEM their knife. Oh, okay, but are they still making clones? Well, we don't know. That's one example of something that is confusing, right? And then we got all of these other like mystery. For all we know, there could be a ton of well-known Chinese OEMs that are quite literally manufacturing counterfeits. There's a lot of mystery, right? Now, I'm not saying that only Chinese OEMs are guilty of doing that. Like, there's plenty of issues with different OEMs and entities all over the world from all different geographic locations that are doing things that are not really in the best interests of consumers, right? Money drives everything, but we definitely have, certain platforms and OEMs and companies that have more integrity. TikTok is simply allowing this massive open space where anybody, literally like Satan himself, could be like, here's all of my poisonous, these are counterfeit objects, and they're poisonous. It's basically, as long as you're not trying to sell like a hand grenade or a firearm, like they don't care. So anybody, these random people, and listen, I'm actually really impressed with some of the people in the TikTok knife community, because these random ding-dong losers, like that's who they are. These are losers on TikTok. I just found it, but I found a good deal. Look at this. I saw one, he's like, look at this, it's the same. Here's the same one in the store. And he's videoing an actual Benchmade knife, and I know Benchmade knives are overpriced, but he's videoing an actual Benchmade knife at a retailer that is authorized to sell Benchmade knives. He's using that, and he's like, look at this right here, it's $189. I can get this one right. You can get the same knife right here for $18. And it's clearly a clone. And I know that, and many of you know that, but the problem is that this is specifically meant to target people who don't know that, right? And now, I was really impressed. I got down in that guy's comments, and people lit him up for it. That's good. When you see that stuff, you should call it out. That's one way. And it does. You put pressure on those little goobers, those weirdos on TikTok who are like trying to make a quick buck that way. You put pressure on them and you let them know, right? And you fill up their comments with stuff. If you're on TikTok, right? Again, I know people are going to be like, well, I don't like TikTok, and that's what... You think that this is only going to be a TikTok thing? Every platform is trying to get the population of people who come onto the platform. They're trying to keep them there, trying to circulate traffic there on the platform. Have you ever clicked a link, like for example on Instagram, and it's your buddy's like trying to show you a TikTok video, and Instagram's like, whoop, whoop, hold up there, pal. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to leave this great platform? I mean, you're about to leave this wonderful platform, and you're going to God knows where. I mean, it's TikTok, but who knows what you're going to... Are you sure? Like, they don't want you to leave. They want you to stay there. They want you to stay and consume content and watch advertisements and ultimately, ideally, buy something that the platform benefits from. TikTok has figured this out. Why YouTube has not implemented something like this, I don't know. But the problem is every time something like this is implemented, there are bad players who seek to exploit it, seek to exploit people's knowledge on this subject. And TikTok is full of people who don't know anything about anything. I know that could be said about any platform. You could say, well, Metal Complex, out of everybody who uses YouTube, only a teeny weeny tiny percentage. I mean, it's literally half the world's population. 4.5 billion people log into YouTube every day, apparently. 4 to 4.5 billion. The vast majority of those people have no idea what a quality... do they really need to? I don't know. Right? But there's way more people here who know than people on TikTok. I mean, on TikTok, geez, nobody knows. Everything that I show on TikTok is just flabbergasting to almost not everybody. There's people on TikTok who know. But when I show something on TikTok, it's very typical for me to get a comment from someone going, is this a $5 knife or a $5,000? Like, people don't know, right? It seems like, I mean, most people here can tell the difference between something like this and something like this. Obviously, this is more expensive, right? But a lot of the people on TikTok, and they're not even joking. They're not even like being that guy that's like, well, it looks like a gas station, even though they know it's not. It's not even that. There's literally just people just don't know. And people are just taking advantage, right? Not only taking advantage of people, but putting counterfeits, not just clones, putting counterfeits into the hands of people who might end up in our core community or end up buying, selling, and trading on one of these, these areas where we like to do this. And as time progresses, while I don't think, I would hope that some of these weird, goofy, goober, entities on TikTok, I would hope that they're not capable of actually producing an aesthetic duplication of something like the Blade HQ Tanto Spyderco PM2. I would hope and assume that they cannot do that. But for right now, I think that there's nothing we can do to stop the clones from existing or from entities trying to sell counterfeits and things like that. If you feel like you want to buy a clone because you can't afford the real thing, I would say take a look at any number of super inexpensive original designs. Migron exists. QSP exists. We have, of course, Vosteed. We have Civivi. We have Senka. Not only do you have a nearly limitless number, well, not limitless, you have a crazy number of authentic quality brands to look at. You are rolling the dice with a clone. Maybe if you're spending $200 on a Shiro F95 clone versus spending $1,100 or $1,200 on the real thing, maybe then you're getting high manufacturing precision, and maybe you're getting the real composition, and maybe it's heat treated okay. I've heard that happens. If you buy a $40 clone of the Shiro F95, are you getting any of that? No. Oh, poor baby. No, absolutely not. You're getting super duper poo-poo. You're getting God knows what for the composition. It's not heat treated properly, if at all. It probably will barely be sharpened properly. The tolerances will be terrible, and it'll probably have an unsafe locking mechanism, right? So that's something that you have to consider when you're buying a clone. Or you could simply spend $30 to $40 with a company like QSP or Migron and get not only a knife that's original and not stolen from anybody, but a knife that is manufactured properly and has good tolerances and has at least a reasonable heat treat. You're getting a quality and much safer tool. Now, if you're saying, I just wanna, it's like that's my argument against like the whole budgetary thing. If you're saying I just want the clone because I want to kind of get a feel for it before I buy the real thing, I can understand that. My biggest issue here is the presence of counterfeits. There is no justification for that. These are bad. They have absolutely zero positive impact on our community, and their existence and their ability to leak into platforms like TikTok just means that it makes it that much more difficult for the rest of us. Again, even if you are not on TikTok, I can't tell you how many platforms I'm not on, right? Anytime a platform has a system that allows people to advertise this stuff in mass, it's a problem for all of us, right? What do I think can solve this problem completely? Nothing. There's nothing that can stop it. What do I think can help mitigate it? Well, there's already some of that happening, and I think over time this will kind of help. You know, we got the tidal wave of diarrhea happening right now over on TikTok. Eventually, I think this will be mitigated because more and more companies, like, for example, CJRB and Vosteed, will take advantage of the TikTok shop thing. They already are. Vosteed is there, so is CJRB, and people promoting their stuff. I think that's healthy. They should. A big content creator, small content, I don't care, whatever. You're trying to make a buck, whatever. That's a good brand to promote. You want to start a TikTok right now and start promoting stuff from CJRB or Vosteed? You can do that. I think they'll even send you free samples if you're a certain size of creator. Go ahead and do it, because the more stuff like that, the more that people are, enticed to buy a quality original product and not a counterfeit. More companies need to get over there. And as far as I know, they are. Like, there are some of the biggest retailers right now are heavily investing in a presence on TikTok and TikTok shop. I'll let you guys wait and find that out when they are there. But I've talked with many people, who represent some of these larger retailers and many people who represent some of these larger brands, and they are hyper interested, as they should be, hyper interested in TikTok shop and anything like it that evolves, right? YouTube eventually will have something very, very similar. We're getting closer. They just, they try a lot harder than TikTok to mitigate like the amount of scams and counterfeit items and stuff like that. It's very difficult to navigate. Shopify, which is YouTube's trying to implement that here on YouTube Shorts and with content creators, and there's a lot of like red tape and there's a lot of automated systems that'll flag things based on very, very broad categories. As more companies manage to get into TikTok shop and offer free samples to small, medium, or large content creators, then you have less people who are hyper fixated on the counterfeits, which are, oh my God, every other knife thing that is you always know if it's a TikTok shop thing because the shop button's right there. Every other thing I see that has that shop button that has to do with knives is a blatant ad for a counterfeit. And it's just some loser. All of the people who are advertising it, they know. Most of them know. I even watched a reply video. One of the guys was like, yeah, I know it's a clone. Or he said, I know it's a counterfeit. I was just like, it's still a really good deal. And I'm like, man, that sucks. Like, that's terrible. Like, don't do that. If you are considering becoming a TikToker, right? I could do this at any moment if I wanted to. I could make all of my content on TikTok only promoting the brands that are there that I think are good and that I can make money off of. I could do that. I don't. You'll notice that exactly zero of my content has anything to do with TikTok shop over there, and there are affiliate links in my bio, and barely anybody ever clicks on them. I make ad revenue on TikTok, and that's how I prefer to generate revenue over there. I prefer to make entertaining content and showcase things that I think are quality, or showcase things that are not quality at all and make a joke out of it or destroy them, throw them at a pallet, right? Stuff like that. That's what I do over there. And then if people want to come and watch my YouTube content, fine. Now, if in the future I have massive variety and there's I'm able to compare. Right now, if I were to do that, my issue with it is that I only have a couple of companies. So then it's like all of my content turns it. No, I want to have a massive variety of not only, OEMs and brands, but also like retailers. The reason that I don't do that on TikTok is because my options are these 2 or 3 brands that are good and then a whole bunch of counterfeit stuff. Ew, no, poopy. What we need is everybody to be able to showcase their stuff there, even things out, drown out the counterfeit ads, especially drown out those stupid loser accounts of people promoting counterfeits. Like, drown those people out, shove them back down. It's like, no, Nick, sorry, you thought this was going to be your side hustle. No, find something else, Drown those people out and allow people who are pushing quality things, original things, people who are educated, allow these people to get into TikTok and help educate the massive, massive population of people over there who have no idea what they're buying, right? I think this will occur naturally, but I also don't. I think the best case scenario is that TikTok implements some system that gets rid of like blatant counterfeit advertisement. How likely is that? Almost zero. I think that is pretty much not going to happen. I think a reasonable outlook on this is that the good stuff comes in. We get more people over there. You get a larger community of educated knife folks on TikTok, and we just see less of the counterfeit stuff. And I think that'd be great, right? I don't know. I don't have a solution. If you're thinking, why are you making this video on YouTube? Wouldn't it be more pertinent to make it on TikTok? Guess how well a video like this would do on TikTok. Even if I reduced it to 2 to 3 minutes, as soon as anybody on TikTok believes that they are watching something that will educate them, they scroll on. They don't want to be educated. They don't want to sit down and listen to somebody teach them something. No. They want to be force-fed garbage. And they want cheap products in their face. That's what they want. I mean, that's really sad, but like that's anybody who consumes exclusively short-form content is basically just a landfill for internet slop. I mean, that's what that is, right? I like to scroll and look at short-form content and laugh at cats jumping and missing platform. I think that's funny, but I try to limit it because I can feel my brain melting. I can feel my brain get dumb. I can get video rectangle can make brain goopy. Quick, watch cat video, right? You can feel that happening. But yeah, I don't. I mean, like these platforms that implement these systems, like the whole idea, whether you're there or not, because I know people are going to get fixated on. I don't care about TikTok. These systems are going to be implemented everywhere. Stay here, watch videos, shop here, buy here, put your card in. You never leave the site. The thing shows up the next day. We shoot it to your house via rocket, right? Convenience. So instead of like, rah, 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 like, yeah, like definitely call people out on that. Like when you see it, if you're over there, leave a comment. Don't just scroll by. Just leave, I mean, like, and they could delete your comment, sure, but like, let them know, like, hey, dude, this is shameful. Like, you're promoting a counterfeit. If it's a clone, like, and you feel strongly about it, fine, right? The clones, I don't think are nearly as much of a problem because at least you can identify them as clones. The counterfeit stuff, even if it's just an image and what you actually receive is not actually that, it's still a problem. If the advertisement showcases logos and brands and it looks right, that's still a problem. Call people out on that and say, hey, this is trashy. You're trash person. Okay, take your garbage and go. Or just stop doing this, you know? Call them out on it. And then as more companies and brands start to fill those spaces, I think that we'll see less of that. But this exact system that TikTok has will almost certainly be implemented exactly the same way on YouTube at some point, right? And we will probably have some of those same issues. Whatever future platforms arise, right? Whatever finally takes down YouTube and becomes the next thing, yeah, there's going to be products and people manipulating systems that are new, and right, I mean, who knows? AI will probably make it all way worse. I don't know, but it's something to be aware of. I'm hoping it works out. I don't necessarily have a lot of faith in the solution for this, but it is. I mean, ultimately, this was the motivation behind this topic today, this video today. You know, it's something that's happening. I don't think everybody's aware of it, but it's a problem. And while there's a few people on TikTok talking about it, those videos aren't getting a lot of views because people on TikTok won't sit down and listen, or they're just not interested in digging into our world and, you know, what this is and what the implications. They're not interested in it. They just want to mindlessly scroll until they find something cheap to buy. So yeah, it doesn't really, I mean, like making a big, like, you know, video campaign, it's just their algorithm's not going to recommend it. If they're not going to sit, if the average person's not going to sit and watch for at least 20 seconds, then the algorithm on TikTok is not going to push it out. Let me give you an example. I always, if you want to know how bad the average TikToker attention span is versus, say, YouTube Shorts. The average view time on my YouTube Shorts is 2.5 times what it is on TikTok. The same video, and I can see this, I can see all the analytics for these videos. I will release the same video on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts on average 2.5 times the view length. Now, it's still not very long, right? But TikTok is that much worse, right? So this is who's seeing this stuff. This is who's being targeted. People with incredibly low attention spans, people who are unwilling to learn, unwilling to listen for the most part. I'm not saying nobody who has any, hint of intelligence exists on TikTok. No, there's plenty of intelligent people over there, but it's just a lot. There's a lot more like aggressive, like doom scrollers and like people like, I want to buy something cool. I want it to be cheap. Yeah, Minecraft. Like, there's a lot more of that, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Oh, man. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think of this. Am I just an angry boomer yelling at clouds, or what do you think? What do you think the implications? What do you think the future holds? Do you think good, bad, right? Glass half full, glass half empty? You let me know, okay? That's going to be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do not like, so check those out. If you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.